Hey guys, are you ready to transform your mind so you can transform your life? Coach Myrna brings you one-on-one coaching and expert guests weekly to help you to grow. Because happiness is the progressive realization of a worthy goal.
Looking for personal growth? Let's do it. Today, brands don't just have an awareness problem, they have a trust problem. People are overwhelmed by ads, skeptical of marketing, and craving something real. So, let us tell your story in a way that actually resonates. Brands partner with the Transform Your Mind podcast because this isn't just advertising, it's trusted influence. Our audience is deeply engaged in healing, mindset, faith, and personal growth, and they are actively supporting brands that align with their transformation journey. Your brand is featured through a CEO or expert interview that positions you as a thought leader, host-read pre-roll and mid-roll ads woven naturally into other episodes, and long-term visibility across our full media ecosystem. Explore brand partnerships. Visit myhelps.us/partner. That is myhelps.us/partner.
Let's take it off of an individual woman.
Okay.
Let's take it off of like who she is and what she's doing. And let's talk about women.
Okay.
So women in general don't understand their full arousal arc. They don't, and they work on a patriarchal model around men's pleasure. And men often think that when a woman shows vaginal wetness, that she's ready for penetration. And actually what that means is a woman is interested. That's all it means, is that our body is waking up.
Right.
And many women deal with premature penetration all the time. And they're not allowed to, and they don't know, the man may not know, to what it is to actually feel the full arc of female pleasure in their bodies. And, the stage 1 is literally just waking up the body. Stage 2, and that could take 20 minutes. And stage 2 is just welcoming excitement and arousal. Like, what does arousal actually feel like? And many women don't have the full expression of arousal in their bodies. And it can take 20 minutes for a woman's body, for her vulva to fill with blood, for her, for her to be ready for more exquisite touch that could lead to a climax.
Welcome back to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life radio podcast and television show. I'm your host, life coach Myrna Young, and sitting in the guest chair today is Pamela Madsen, a certified somatic sex educator. And Pamela and I are going to be talking today on the topic 3 ways to enhance female orgasms. I want to know that. Do you want to know that? So this is going to be a great conversation. Welcome, Pamela.
Well, it's wonderful to be here. And I think the conversation won't be as straightforward as the viewers might think.
Okay, all right. Well, let's see what we can leave on the table here.
Okay.
All right. Well, okay, let me give you guys a brief introduction to set the table. Pamela Madsen is a certified somatic sex educator with a master's degree in education and the founder and president of Back to Body Retreats, now in its 15th year. Back to Body, the world's foremost sexual wellness retreat, offers monthly retreats held in locations around the globe, as well as their expansive new Joshua Tree compound. A pioneer in fertility and sex advocacy, Pamela was formerly the founder and first executive director of the American Fertility Association. She has been called a vagipreneur as well as an OG in the world of sexual wellness, and has been featured on CNN, Sex with Emily, The Oprah Winfrey Show, Vogue, Cosmopolitan, Women's Health, BuzzFeed, 60 Minutes, USA Today, and the New York Times. Well rounded.
I'm so impressed with me.
Yes, I'm impressed too. All right. Pamela is also the author of Shameless: How I Ditched the Diet, Got Naked, Found a True Pleasure, and Still Got Home in Time to Cook Dinner. What an awesome title.
Thank you.
She is a fearless advocate for women's health and integrated sexuality who leverages her raw honesty and well informed wit to help strip the stigma from female desire and pleasure, body image, and infertility. All right. Now, that was a long intro, but I thought that everything was necessary.
No, thank you.
That the table. Normally, I cut some of that stuff out because it's reading for too long. But yeah, this was important for me to mention all those things. So, as we start off, Pamela, I want to know, and I'm pretty sure our listeners want to know, what exactly is a somatic sex educator? And how does somatic sexology improve our relationships with others and ourselves?
Well, somatic, is of the earth. It's of the body. So while other types of therapies focus on the mind, I focus on the body and how the body then will relate to all the rest of us, like our minds. But it's just a different approach. And I believe that it all, can work together. But if we leave out the body and the knowledge that we have in our body, we don't get where we want to go in the world and in our lives, and there's so much pressure around, book learning and videos and YouTube and all those things, right? Not everybody learns that way.
Okay.
Some people learn through their bodies. They learn through touch and sound and breath and voice and movement. And so we bring that into the game, especially when you're talking about sexual wellness.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get back to your body.
Right. Well, that makes sense. And as I said the word somatic, it's funny that you brought up the sound because yeah, I've had some interviews with somatic sound healing. So as soon as I said that, I remembered that particular thing. So give us an example of what a somatic sex educator does. I mean, I know you talked about touch and sound and I'm not sure what a breath you said. So give us an example.
Well, it's not, so completely like cut and dry. So there's lots of and in a lot of ways, we're doing sex education now, right? We're bringing that information forward to the world. So right now, through voice, we're doing sex education. When we talk about the body, at my retreats, the day may start with sound and movement and dance. The day may start with Watsu, floating in the water, being held by a practitioner and letting go into like the womb of water. People want to explore many different things when it comes to sexual wellness. And so sessions vary. And they usually include some form of touch and experience. We work on massage tables or on futons, but mostly massage tables. We stay clothed. Our clients can be as naked as they want to be. It's kind of hard to experience touch if you're wearing a suit of armor. We can't get through. It feels way better if you have skin showing. And so we practice one-way touch. And so we give touch, we don't receive touch from our clients. And it's an embodied experience and may start with dance. There's a lot of way to get on the table. May start with movement, may start with conversation. And then we find our way to a table. And then we begin to, we may then start to explore touch and pleasure.
Okay. All right. I'm liking it. So, I know we're going way off of what I had here, but I love this conversation. So, people come to your retreats, and let's say that they were having I'm just making this up. They're having a hard time being intimate because there's some kind of shame or something. And you put them in the water and they learn to let go into the womb, or you have them dance. And because I know dancing gets them into femininity, because, that kind of thing. So walk us through what each one of those things, give us an example of a woman that is coming into therapy and how this might help her with a particular, I don't want to use the word problem, but for simplicity, I'll use the word problem that she may be having with her sexuality.
Well, let's take it off of an individual woman.
Okay.
Let's take it off of like who she is and what she's doing. And let's talk about women.
Okay.
So women in general don't understand their full arousal arc. They don't, and they work on a patriarchal model around men's pleasure. And men often think that when a woman shows vaginal wetness, that she's ready for penetration. And actually what that means is a woman is interested. That's all it means, is that our body is waking up.
Right.
And many women deal with premature penetration all the time. And they're not allowed to, and they don't know, the man may not know, to what it is to actually feel the full arc of female pleasure in their bodies. And, the stage 1 is literally just waking up the body. Stage 2, and that could take 20 minutes. And stage 2 is just welcoming excitement and arousal. Like, what does arousal actually feel like? And many women don't have the full expression of arousal in their bodies. And it can take 20 minutes for a woman's body, for her vulva to fill with blood, for her, for her to be ready for more exquisite touch that could lead to a climax. And so, you're talking about an hour here.
Okay.
Okay. And so when you're talking about women healing different kinds of traumas in their life, well, does she know what it is to allow pleasure? Can she give it to herself? Can she learn to speak? We had a woman sharing, now I'm going back to a woman. We had a woman sharing how her father taught her to share. And he would take a chocolate bar and he would divide it. He'd say, you'd have to divide it into 5 equal pieces. And you always go last. You always make sure everybody else goes first. So her experience with pleasure was she had to make sure everybody else was served. Yes. So learning about the full erotic response of women, and that it could be for her, and that she was going first and she was driving the engine. So it's like, okay, there are all these women, they all get the same piece of chocolate at a retreat. They're all going to have 90 minutes with a practitioner or a workshop. Everyone gets the same. Then the question is, what are you doing with your piece of chocolate?
Nice.
What are you doing? What are you doing with it? What have you been taught around your piece of chocolate? How are you going to consume your piece of chocolate? Are you going to hoard it? Right? Are you going to give it away to somebody else because you don't deserve your chocolate? And you need to like be generous with your chocolate. And it's not for you. Do you eat it quickly and then do you feel shame? Or do you really enjoy your piece of chocolate? And so you have all these women with stories about how to have their piece of chocolate. So everyone has the same time with their practitioners, or the same time with their workshop. But when you're asking, like, how do they heal? Well, they need to learn and understand, how do they approach pleasure? What is their pattern? How can they release it? And understanding and experiencing the full arousal arc helps them with that. And if they're having, because they're receiving, and it's for them.
Right.
It's for them. And they're not sharing that.
I like it.
And so that becomes a process of learning, a process of healing, giving a lot of mixed information, but it all wraps together, I think. With your question, there's a lot of trauma in receiving and getting. And I'll give you another. And would you like one more story? Because you were liking those.
I love it.
I
love it.
So this last retreat, we were sharing about how do we consume pleasure? How do we get pleasure? What's our relationship with pleasure? So one woman shared that story about how her father taught her equal parts, you eat last. Another woman shared that her father would take her and her 2-year-old brother. The woman was asking, with her father, she was a little girl and she had a 2-year-old brother, and father made a big deal. They were going to go to the supermarket, and if they were really good, they got a piece of chocolate or a treat. But they weren't allowed to ask for the treat. No asking for the treat.
That's normal.
And so she would go, and her little brother would ask for the treat or would misbehave. And it was her job. She had to keep her brother quiet or she didn't get the treat. Because if her brother made sounds or asked for the treat, even if she was a good girl, she got punished.
I understand that kind of parenting. In today's market, brands don't just have an awareness problem, they have a trust problem. People are overwhelmed by ads, skeptical of marketing, and craving something real. That's why CEOs and purpose-driven brands partner with the Transform Your Mind podcast. When brands partner with the Transform Your Mind podcast, they're not just buying an ad. They're gaining trusted access to a deeply engaged, values-driven audience that is actively investing in personal growth, wellness, faith, and transformation. So, let us tell your story in a way that actually resonates. Your brand is featured through a CEO or expert interview that positions you as a thought leader. Hosts read pre-roll and mid-roll ads woven naturally into other episodes, and long-term visibility across our full media ecosystem. We distribute every partnership interview across multiple high-impact channels, including 20 podcast platforms and directories, television distribution at PTWWN TV, YouTube and streaming platforms like Reveal, social media clips and reels, and a blog article with backlinks to your website. This means your message doesn't just disappear after one episode. It's repurposed, replayed, and rediscovered across multiple platforms. If your brand serves people who value healing, mindset, wellness, faith, and personal development, the Transform Your Mind podcast offers more than exposure. It offers alignment, authority, and authentic connection. To explore a brand partnership with the Transform Your Mind podcast, visit us at myhelps.us/partner. That is myhelps.us/partner. Partner.
So she would be punished for her brother's misbehavior. And she learned that she wasn't in control of pleasure.
Oh, wow.
She wasn't in control of her pleasure. And then another woman shared that her father, and this is all in a workshop around pleasure, right? And one woman's story about a chocolate bar led to two other women sharing these stories. Like, how does it, how does all this relate? So the one other father, I mean, these parents really, they really need to be certified before they become parents. Shared a story that there were 4 children and the father brought home 3 chocolate bars and knew he had 4 children and threw the candy in the air and whoever gets it, gets it. And so women develop this relationship through childhood with how they're given pleasure, how they consume pleasure, who is pleasure for. And then they can bring that to the table. They can bring that to their bodies, and they need to reorient themselves to who is entitled to pleasure. How do we give ourselves pleasure?
Right.
How do we ask for pleasure? And they have a lot of trauma around entitlement.
I can understand that because in Eastern society, women are brought up to please men, and men don't really have to please women. In the Western society, I thought that women now go after their pleasure. You find that a lot of women are being sexually, explorative. But I do know that a lot of women don't experience pleasure. So I thought that's where I thought the conversation was going. But
And a lot of women don't. But what I'm trying to explain is it can be rooted. It can be rooted in these what seems like very small,
yes,
but very significant learning.
I thought it was a body thing.
Well,
it's a mind.
It's both.
Okay.
So if I learned that pleasure is not for me, if I was taught that I had to fight for pleasure, that I had to elbow another woman, out to get pleasure. If I had shame around pleasure,
Right.
if I couldn't ask for what I want, then how do I even know what it feels like in my body? Because I can't, so they don't experience pleasure because they don't know what is pleasurable. They have shame around wanting pleasure. They don't know if they can have pleasure. And so what happens in these programs is we find this out. We have workshops and companies go, oh, okay. So can you use your voice? Can you ask? Can you ask for what you want? Can if we touch your body, can you tell us what feels good, what doesn't feel good? Can you learn that? Can you allow yourself to have pleasure shamelessly and receive? And what we find is so many women have dry roots. They're starving for pleasure.
Of course. Yeah. I can believe that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, they're starving. There's so many. There's a big number, about 70% of women that don't have orgasms from penetration. So I know that number. I've I've heard it, all my life, and yeah. So and I know that they always think it's a physical thing, but when they come to maybe a retreat like yours, or they get rid of the root causes or the dry causes, as you're talking about, that opens up. So what you're doing is a wonderful thing, because yes, women are starved for pleasure. They're definitely think that they're there to please men. And not.
And here's the other thing that I think is very important. Can we take the focus off of orgasm?
Okay.
And put the focus on arousal. Put the focus on pleasure. Because as I said in the beginning of our conversation, we break it down into four levels, which is awakening the body, welcoming arousal, excitement or climax, and then aftercare. When we do these live demos for women, and we also put them in experiences where it's like we're timing it. Okay, 20 minutes just awakening the body. All right, now we're going to build that into a more heightened arousal or excitement, or Masters and Johnson calls it plateau, but I don't understand why they call it plateau when we're talking about higher levels of arousal for 20 minutes. And then we move to climax for 20 minutes and then aftercare. And they talk about the female erotic arc in terms of 1, 2, 3, and 4, level 1, 2, 3, and 4. And they'll say things like, wow, level 1 and 2 was the best. Experiencing expanded pleasure was more exciting than orgasm and climax. I've had that. And I've never had someone take the time in with my body to explore waking up my body, to explore the pleasure of arousal. Many women don't even know what I am talking about. And climax can be over very quickly. And they're not going to have a full climax if they haven't had the first 2 stages. And they find they'll go into session after they've had these experiences and after they've seen me demonstrate all this. And they'll say to their practitioner, I want 1 and 2. Can we spend time in 1 and 2? That's really interesting and exciting for me because I don't get that at home.
Right.
What I get at home is this rush to climax.
Well,
And for the women,
maybe, right.
yeah, and for the women who are having trouble climaxing because they haven't had 1 and 2.
I haven't had 1 and 2. But you said something that was very interesting. I want to circle back to that. You started out by saying that when a woman gets wet, the man thinks that she is aroused. So explain that, because I saw
She is.
that is the mental arousal. Your body is responding. Go ahead.
Well, when a man gets an erection, does it mean that he's ready to have intercourse?
Yes. No.
All right, so there's the McDonald's of sex, fast food sex. He gets hard, I get wet, we have sex, we're done. Took 4 minutes. And she wonders why she didn't come. Basically, he's masturbating inside of her.
Right.
Okay? That's what's happening.
Right.
All right? So he's just taking
It's true.
from her body.
Right.
So women get wet when we have the beginning of arousal. And we get wetter at
You
the beginning.
As a 1? Okay.
Right. It's the beginning of arousal. Just the beginning of arousal. And so they feel wetness. And they're hard. And no one's very sophisticated. And away he goes, and he wonders why she's not having a climax.
Right.
Because he just offered her a fast food hamburger with French fries.
No French fries, just hamburger. Right.
Maybe just the hamburger, no ketchup, not even a pickle. She's frustrated.
Right.
He's frustrated. She thinks she's broken. She thinks something's wrong.
She doesn't. She knows that it's him because he didn't take the time to arouse her, so she knows it's him. But
I don't. You know what? I don't know if she knows it's him, because a lot of people don't have very much experience or education at all. And what we see in the movies is he grabs her, he pushes her up against the wall, lifts her skirt, and they're in ecstasy together.
Yeah,
and, it doesn't happen that way. I mean, it could, but I don't think that she's having, the best time. She may be in service to him, and that could be exciting. But it's very rare for women to be able to get aroused and have a climax in under 5 minutes. And many men, they're pushing to intercourse. Here, take a man. Let me tell you like a funny metaphor.
Mm-hmm.
Tell a man that we're going to penetrate him in his anus. Okay? We're going to have intercourse with him in his anus, and we're not going to touch his penis, and he should come.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You know what? He may learn where a clitoris is. Okay? So, like, that's what happens to women.
Good one. Yeah.
That's what happens to women. Think about a man
Mm-hmm.
having penetration in his bottom,
Mm-hmm.
and no one's touching his penis.
That's right.
And he's supposed to have an orgasm.
Right. Right.
Well, you know what? He's not going to have an orgasm.
No.
Neither is she.
Right. Right.
Neither is she. If he is having intercourse with her, expects her to come in 5 minutes, has no care at all with what's going on in her erotic playground
Mm-hmm.
and what she needs
Right.
with touch and pleasure and arousal, she's not going to have an orgasm. And she's going to think that something's wrong.
Right. Right.
And she's going to come to me and say, I don't have orgasm. I don't know what's wrong.
Right.
And then
So
we teach her.
why? Right. Okay.
And then she finds out she has orgasm and she has pleasure. And it's not her. And she's not broken.
Mm. That is good. Yes. And then what happens when she goes home?
Well, the name of my company is Back to the Body, Not Back to the Partner.
Okay. All right.
And there are men's groups
Okay.
that can support him that are like Back to the Body, but for men. And there are lots of programs. But my focus is on women. But what I will also tell you is when she learns how she likes to be touched and she finds her voice and she can communicate, she's going to show up differently in the bedroom.
Okay.
And she may learn how to say softer, harder, faster, slower, just like that. Stay with me there.
Mm.
And just learning how to say simple phrases, giving women simple phrases and letting them, they know when they leave here, they know how, we don't have intercourse or anything like that with clients, but they learn about touch and their bodies get touched and they learn about what they like and they learn about what they don't like. And so when they go home to their partners, they're better able to communicate. They're also better able to touch their partners in a different way because they've been touched in a different way.
Okay. Yeah.
And so they can bring that then to their partner.
Okay. Now, last question in this. So once, then they say when you open up the pipe, then it can flow. So once you open them up to their bodies, is it easier to find pleasure with their partner now that their body is opened up?
I think so. But what is it that's opened up? I don't know if it's I'm not quite sure about, the metaphor of the pipes. It's more like I'm opened up because now I know what I like. I'm opened up because I've learned how to communicate. I'm opened up because I believe I deserve pleasure.
Okay.
I'm opened up because I understand my pleasure and I deserve it.
Okay.
And I can communicate.
If there's a mental connection to the body somehow, and now you're opened up.
Well, what I just talked about, a lot of it is it has to do with the mind, right? I have to be able to think, right? I need to be able to let go of shame. Maybe I've let go of trauma. Maybe I've healed some stuff. And so, yes, I'm more opened up. I feel more I may be changing how I dress when I get home.
Right. Yes.
Because I'm feeling
Sexier.
sexier.
After that, because yes, once you've got rid of the shame, once you got rid of thinking something is wrong with you, then you are open up because you're more open to receiving that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Everything changes.
Right. Okay. So that's amazing. All right. So you also say, and that was good. That was a very nice intro. You also say that we all have an erotic persona. How do we find out what our erotic persona is? Or how do you help your clients find that out, I should say?
Well, I think the first thing that has to happen is what we just talked about.
Okay.
They have to be able to first be able to connect to their eroticism.
Okay.
And then they may find out as they are
When you use the word persona, I'm thinking that it's that maybe one person is this and the other person is that and the other. No?
I'm not quite sure. I think what we're talking about is erotic identity.
Okay.
That I'd like to be dominant in the bedroom.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And that may look a certain way for me.
Okay.
I may like to be submissive in the bedroom. I may like to feel childlike
Okay.
in the bedroom or like a virgin in the bedroom. I may want to be animal like and fierce.
Okay.
And women can learn that through sessions and through experiences and then bring that out to their lovers or partners.
Nice. I like it. Yeah. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what when you use the word persona, I know there was difference. But yeah, and it's true.
Does that feel right?
Yeah, I mean, it's true though. We all have different personas and different identities, you know. Yeah, some want to be submissive, some want to be dominant, right? Some like role playing, some like sense and, the man to do certain things. Well, yeah, and you don't know until someone does it for you, I think, right? So your sessions help them to, figure that out and then they can go home and play.
Uh-huh.
I have a friend that's actually a dominatrix, and obviously that's what she likes. She's a professional dominatrix. That's her turn.
That's a persona.
I know that. Yeah. So I understand you totally. I'm not.
Me neither.
Yes. Okay. All right. So let's get to our topic today. What are 3 ways to enhance female orgasms? I know that you say that orgasms is not the end goal. We want to be aroused. But let's say you want to get to that climax, you want to get to that plateau, which is a word you said someone else uses. The men want to get there. Why don't we want to get there?
Well, I think in a way that I've answered that question because we get there through time.
Mm-hmm.
We get there through patience. We get there through allowing ourselves to have pleasure, to take pleasure. We get there through experimenting. Like, are you using a vibrator? Have you tried different kinds of vibrators? Can you get there on your own? Climaxing with a partner is much harder than climaxing alone. Even for women who have no trouble reaching climax, it's much harder with a partner for many women. In a lot of ways, because of that funny story I told you,
About the chocolate?
is that, unfortunately, many lovers are not really paying attention to the woman's body, and that's a big deal. So, it's reaching a climax is a combination of things. I have to feel safe.
Right.
So if you don't feel safe in your environment, you're not gonna have pleasure. You're not gonna have a climax because I'm busy worrying. My antennas are out. I don't feel safe. Maybe you don't feel safe because you are in a hotel room and you feel like people are going to hear you. Or you have children, you're frightened they're going to walk in on you. So it's not just about abuse. There's lots of ways of not feeling safe, right? So the first thing is that women have to feel safe. They have to feel like their partner is attuned with them. That they're paying attention, that they're giving them presence and attention.
Do you think they have to love or like their partner?
Like is helpful.
Okay, all right. That's why I asked you that question. Because I mean, I was under the impression, at least for me anyway, that arousal or climax for a woman is geared to liking or loving, where men, it doesn't really matter. They can compartmentalize and
It's really hard to do broad strokes like that,
okay.
Those kind of come down to urban legends. But I kind of think that it's always good to like somebody, whether you're a man or a woman.
True.
And we can like and love in lots of different ways.
Okay. But
So,
that is a criteria for orgasm.
I don't know. I think what's more, I think it's all slices of a pie.
Okay.
And so do you feel safe? Do you like the smell of your partner?
Yeah.
Like, how do they feel? Are they giving you their attention? Do they ask questions about your pleasure? You can be with of the practitioners. You're not in love with the practitioner, but it's good to like them.
Right.
It's good not to be offended by them.
Right.
And I think that goes for men too. Like if you stink, you smell funny, you don't care about their pleasure, you're rude. I don't know that anyone's going to want to be erotic with you. I mean, there's a certain kind of erotic politeness.
Right.
Right? Like, did you bathe?
Yes. Yeah.
Bathing is good.
I always remember this. I remember once when I was dating, I asked this guy what he looks for in a woman, and the first thing he said, clean. And I was so shocked about that because I'm saying to myself, clean. I mean, that's but anyway, since then I've understood that. But
Right.
anyway, yeah, so I hear what you're saying. Right. For the man too. I mean, for the woman too. She wants clean. I don't
Yes.
my husband unless he showers because I'm always clean.
Right?
I hear you. I hear you. So, right. Okay. So, what I think your answer is a piece of the pie. Liking or loving your partner is just one piece of the pie. If that's the only pie, I mean, that's the only slice you have, then maybe they're
Right.
not going to get there. Right. Okay.
Right.
All right, keep
You
going.
gotta you've got to want it.
Right.
And if you don't feel safe and if you're not hungry for the person, I mean, are you doing it as an act of service?
Yeah.
Are you doing it to get them off your back? Well,
Are you
how sexy is that for them?
have to have it?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Okay. Yeah, so this was good. You've left give us a lot of information here as far as women's pleasure. And I like the fact that we didn't center on the clitoris and we didn't center on on penetration. We didn't you're right, we didn't focus on orgasm. You focus on the whole thing, what you're and I like how we started off, parts of four things. You dance, which is getting into movement and sexuality and letting go because
And it could be
yeah,
waking up the body. Waking up the body could be flowers. It could be kissing.
of course.
Sex is erotic adult play. It's improv.
Right. Yeah.
Slow it down. Take your time. Ask questions. Know that you deserve to be touched.
Right.
That a woman's body takes time and attention.
Right.
And she has many levels of pleasure. And she really needs more than 3 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember this guy I was dating, and that's what he said. He says, "Not the object to come."
The
Didn't
object is pleasure.
didn't do anything for me. He just thought, "Is not the object fast, 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 bang, bang, bang." Yes, yes, yes. Apparently, that's been the experience for a lot of women. So you're doing good work. So amazing.
Thank you. We've been
Yeah.
doing it for
It's
15 years,
years. Yeah, that's what you said.
and we're the only somatic program in the United States that's had a study done around them.
Mm.
And so what we know from it's been published. Dr. Betsy Crane from Widener University did the study, and it's a quantitative and qualitative study. And what we learn is that through touch, through sound, through breath, through movement, women learn to love their bodies. Women learn to feel better about their genitals. Women learn to have pleasure and to release trauma and to stop hating other women, which is a thing.
Yeah.
And yes, women do find their orgasm, but it's a part of a whole pie. It's not the pie.
Not the pie, right? Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, and you're doing it every month, so there's obviously a lot of people that are interested. I mean, most people that come on here talks about retreats once a year. You're doing it every month, so
And we only have we have a 97% return rate. So we only have for 26, we only have 30 spots left, which is kind of amazing.
yes, that's a good job.
And because this works.
Yeah, it works, and it's very important for women to get in touch with that part of them. You know what I mean? Their pleasure. It opens up a whole bunch of things mentally, how you feel about yourself, how you move in the world. I mean, yeah, I know that. Your pheromones get increased and all that stuff. So that's really good. Amazing. All right. So we've talked a lot about your back to body retreats. I don't know if you have anything more you want to say on that, but we can talk here now about your book. Why did you write it? And what is it that you're teaching people in your book about? How I ditched.
So my book is a memoir,
It's a
and it's about my story.
Oh, nice.
And it's about my story when I was 42 and how I got where I am now. And, it's a wonderful, funny story, and people can understand the journey I had from a kindergarten teacher to a fertility expert to running sexual wellness retreats for women. And, it's all good. And I also, and they can find it on Amazon. It was published by Rodale in 2011. I have a lot of free information
In the book?
and women can find and men can find information on my Instagram. They can find, which is at the Pamela Madsen, or on my website, Back to the Body. And in January, we have a Porto event, which is a small weekend mini retreat for women for much less money, where they can come, they can stay on my beautiful property. It was a resident or non-residential. And I'll even give them a book.
Mm, okay. All right.
And
Well,
it's been wonderful. I really appreciate you having me on and having a chance to expand the conversation around women's pleasure.
yes. I love it. I love it. I mean, like I said, I've had, a lot of sexual talk on the show. Not a lot, a few. But this is the first time that we've encompassed this conversation, pleasure specifically, and not orgasm. Right. And I like it. I like the fact that you said that it's just part of the pie. I like it. So, yeah, you do good work. And you are in California, right? But you said you also have these retreats around the world. So we ever
Yeah, I'm leaving for Thailand in 2 weeks. And after that, we have a retreat next year on a private island in Panama. And then we'll be in Sicily,
so
in Italy.
information and learn about pleasure.
Right. Or come to Josh Retreat. It's gorgeous here year round.
Yeah, right. People probably don't know where that is. That's in California.
Southern California.
Southern California. All right, so they can get the information on your retreats on your website. You said it was backtobody.com?
.org.
.org. Okay. Okay. All right, and they can follow you on social media.
On social media, on Instagram at the Pamela Madsen, or on Facebook, they can find me. And I publish every day.
Good.
So there's always writing, there's always inspiration, there's always, it's not always about the dollar, right? It's about educating, supporting, and inspiring women to say yes to their lives.
Yes. I'm all about pleasure. Yes.
Thank you.
I love this conversation. All right, guys. Well, listen, we've come to the end of our time together with Pamela. All right, so I will have a summary of my conversation with Pamela on the show page, which is myhelps.us. I will link out to her book. I will get a copy of it myself. I want to learn your story. And
Thank you.
Inspired by it. I'll link out to her book. I'll link out to her website, and also to her social media. When I post the marketing clip, I will tag you. I will also follow you, Pamela.
Thank you. I'll same back to you.
Right. Thank you. You're very welcome. Yes, this was a very pleasurable conversation in more ways than one.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate you having me on and the work you do.
You're very welcome. All right. So, any last words, Pamela, before we wrap up?
I'm good. Like, we just need to learn how to say yes to ourselves.
Yes, that's important. And if there's one thing that we can take away from this conversation, is yes. Say yes to yourself. Say yes to pleasure. Not be someone's, meal. I mean, because that's what they do. They come and partake of you, and then you don't, they just, I don't want to use the word eat, but they just, come and partake, and then you're left with, an empty plate or empty feeling. So, yes, good work.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on and sharing it with my audience. So thanks for being on the show. Thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode of Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life. Today we were talking about transforming female pleasure. Right.
Body.
Oh, body. You deserve it. Yes. All right, guys. Thank you, Pamela. Thank you for tuning
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
in.
Be well.
And until next time, now get.